Wow, it's been a whole 2 years since I've made a video like this. 2 years! Damn! You know, a lot can happen in that time. Unless we're talking about YouTube, in which everything is the exact same, except maybe now they'll test out not showing you the recommended tab. Next, they'll hide the pause button behind a hacking minigame. That video focused mainly on YouTube's new rules revolving around swearing, particularly them deciding to treat all swearing on the same level, no matter the severity. Which is stupid, considering they had already added a new system in place where the uploader is forced to check a series of boxes vaguely clarifying how much of their video contains different demonetization factors, such as shocking content, violence, you get the picture. Shortly after that video went up and subsequently receiving widespread backlash for this asinine decision, YouTube decided to go back on all this and keep things as they were. Great! A smart move for once, I'm impressed. Was good for PR too, as everyone quickly dropped it and the notion of this rule even existing was almost completely forgotten about. And what if I told you, this rule has been secretly implemented this entire time? On the part of what I have to assume is one of their 50 million AI robots running the show, this rule is still being implemented, but in secret. Now that may sound weird. Why would YouTube say they were gonna do something and then just not? Okay, no wait, that doesn't sound weird at all. This is something I've noticed more and more as time has gone on. My video ranking every Kenny death in South Park had gotten demonetized for weeks after uploading, due to their algorithm confusing a character's name with a slur. Okay, I get it. I can see why a bot would get confused there. Makes sense. But then, more recently, and more confusingly, my giant Chucky retrospective, which I had spent months working on, also got demonetized, on top of age restricted, which I don't think I've ever had happen to me before in my 10 years of using the website. What could this be for? Well, all the violence, of course. Sure, I blurred 99% of it, just to be safe, but as it turns out, the violence was a-okay. I probably could have kept it uncensored the whole time, because YouTube instead age restricted it for swearing. Huh? See, I had stupidly selected it as containing light profanity, particularly based on the phrase, moderate profanity used frequently in the video. However, they decided no, this video contains strong profanity, such strong profanity that no one under the age of 18 should even be allowed to listen to it. Weird, doesn't seem right with me. You know, what's their definition of strong profanity? Stronger profanity used in the first 7 seconds, or moderate profanity used in the title or thumbnail. Alright, let's just take a look. Nope. No profanity in the thumbnail or title. Did I leave something in the first 7 seconds by mistake? So last year I decided to do a massive retrospective attempting to understand a franchise that had always terrified me as a kid. My ears, apparently. YouTube's rules make no sense. They tell you one thing while secretly having their bots meticulously comb through your videos looking for issues that wouldn't even be on your radar because of their lack of, telling you. And so today I want to take a deep dive into some of YouTube's rules. In particular, their rules pertaining to swearing and copyright, as they're pretty much two sides of the same coin when it comes to what the heck am I doing wrong here? To quickly reiterate what I believe to be the biggest issue in how YouTube handles conveying its many rules to their creators, and I'm sure everyone who consistently uploads to the site can relate to this, but it all comes down to the vagueness. These checkboxes are filled with words that differ in definition from person to person. Like I said earlier, the difference between their first two options for swearing has such a fine line that's nearly impossible to gauge. Again, moderate profanity used frequently in the video is on the first selection, while the next selection lists focal use of profanity throughout the video. They try to clarify the second more by saying, such as profanity used in most sentences, but this is the closest thing I could see it getting hit for, and still, that doesn't apply to the video at all. Moderate implies a lack of extremity, in which my video contains the use of the F word around 60 times in the span of 2 hours. Is that extreme? Not to me, but I guess they didn't agree on that. How about you? If there's even the possibility of me, you, and YouTube all disagreeing on that, then that kinda highlights the whole problem. And this is all strange in the first place, because last year I had uploaded a Saw retrospective of a slightly longer length, in which I said the dreaded F word marginally more, yet it was fine. For swearing, that is. I still had about a month of back and forth when it came to the bogus copyright claims. And this isn't just a superfluous setting. The difference between these two boxes is the difference between getting monetized and getting demonetized. It's a big thing to decide based on such fluffy language. And that's because the vagueness actively benefits them. It helps YouTube to not be more clear on the rules. It's no secret to anyone that YouTube is more machine than man, so if it messes up and falsely hits someone, then that's at least one potential real-world employee who's got to come in and clean up the mess. Wasting time said employee could be spending on something else, like adding the hacking minigame. To them, why have someone physically comb through videos looking for this stuff, when they've already spent millions on AI to do it for them? So again, it actively benefits them to be more vague. I'm sure many out there can relate, but sometimes when a video of mine gets hit for limited ads, I just don't care enough to deal with it and say, hey, you know what, I guess I said something that ticked off the bot, sure, whatever, and just move on. And I'm positive many others react the same way. Now that would be a whole lot more tricky to get away with if they had laid out clear and definitive rules detailing exactly what gets a video hit. Especially when you add on to the fact that said AI is constantly evolving, and so what they consider too much varies over time. Screw updating people on what that evolution entails. Just say, don't moderately swear too much, and let people have at it. But the issues go much beyond that. Because like I said, you can ensure your video follows these exact guidelines to a T, yet that won't prevent you from getting hit. It's entirely how the AI feels that day, not even that minute. You can have a video go up, get approved, sit on it for a bit to make sure everything is fine and not gonna randomly change last second. Coast seems clear, you make it public, all seems well, then BAM! I wake up at 5 in the morning to the light in my phone hitting the ceiling. Can it be that all too familiar Gmail notification? I get such a genuine sense of dread anytime that happens, as there's a 50% chance it's YouTube telling me, whoops! That video we said was A-OK 10 hours ago? Yeah, we've had a change of thought. KYS and stuff. Now I have to get up, try to send in an appeal knowing it's futile because there's no chance they're actually going to take the time to look at it. What do you know, in the time it took me to type this, they've already gotten back with their rejection. Gotta love that speedy service. Damn YouTube, you got some fast video watchers over there if they could sit through an entire 2-hour video in a matter of minutes. I finally got the monetization back on that Chucky video as I was finishing this, funnily enough. But that was after an entire week of back and forth with the Team YouTube Twitter account, where they constantly just told me to check back in later. Days and days of this before finally messaging one last time, in which I get a near immediate reply, thanks for your patience, confirming this was a mistake during the review process. We're so sorry about this. Wow, YouTube. What a coincidence you sent me this shortly after I messaged you again. I must have just caught you at the tail end of watching my video. What a coincidence. Again. It can't possibly be your bot got my message and said, fuck this asshole again, just remove it, and called it a day. Glad to know it was just a mistake. Glad to know I didn't get compensated at all and had my work heavily restricted in the algorithm in the most crucial period of time for an upload over a mistake. During the review process. The fuck you mean it was approved during the review process? I only made it public because all seemed well and good. With YouTube, you can get the result you want, yet it still pisses you off. It's like they're just twisting the knife by saying you were right all along after spending an entire week gaslighting you into thinking you were doing something wrong. And this isn't just like, oh, big YouTuber got a false age restriction one time but got it fixed, yet still decides to bitch about it for 10 minutes. Okay, well, it's not only that, because stuff like this ends up having really shitty ramifications on your channel as a whole. Ramifications which may seem unrelated at first, but when you begin to put the pieces together, it paints a picture that getting one minor setback like this, even when false, puts a massive target on your channel's head. Here's an example of what I mean, and it's related to YouTube's copyright system, which is a whole other can of worms. Again, I spent like a month last year trying to make sure that Saw video would get approved, despite being a clear and cut case of fair use. To the point where I had to flip the footage, add ugly filters over everything, and put overlays on top of every single movie, to the point where the video borders on being unwatchable in my opinion, just so the video could be public. All because Lionsgate wanted to claim the entire video for showcasing around a tenth of their movies in clip form. Movies, which I praise by the way, not you. Anyways, a while back I uploaded a video about Rick and Morty discussing the show's drop-off in regards to popularity being a shame, as the series has been slowly getting out of the slump it's been in the past couple seasons. Just an average video, whatever, who cares? Well, almost a day after uploading it, I awoke to see that the video had been completely demonetized for swearing, along with an immediate decline to the appeal as per usual. Why? Well, this time, it was completely my fault. There was a clip in the first 7 seconds that contained this scary F word. I forgot about the rule and sadly it didn't play 4 seconds later, otherwise it would have been fine apparently. My bad, I'll take the L. Also, if you appeal and they say no, you're not allowed to trim out the video and reappeal it. Why? But whatever, a couple days later, I then got a notification. Oh hey, by the way, your previous Rick and Morty video from, oh I don't know, like a year ago, has now been demonetized for copyright infringement. Not long after that, my previous Rick and Morty video was hit for the exact same reason. Coincidence? I think not. I can never truly know for certain, but it's as if getting these hits, no matter what form it is, signals the alarms for the bots to do a run-through of your entire channel and look for bonus infractions, even if it's years after telling you everything is fine. And I only say coincidence because the age restriction was not the only time my Chucky video was hit. I had actually uploaded an entirely different version the day prior, which was hit with copyright infringement. You can see where this is going. Towards the end of the video, I played the trailer for Cult of Chucky for 5 seconds longer than I should have. Again, my bad, I get it, 7-second rule and all. No problem, got it re-edited, re-uploaded, everything went fine, got the go-ahead. Sighed in relief as it was nowhere near as excruciating as the Saw video was. And went on my merry way, unaware of the soon-to-come troubles. Anyways, shortly after this copyright strike, I get another email from YouTube, informing me that another one of my videos had been struck. This time, randomly, my review of the Sing movies from some time ago. Then, not long after that, the same thing happens with my Mario movie review. Weird, both Illumination movies. Huh. I wonder what company owns Illumination. I suppose I'll never know for sure what exactly the reason behind this is, but I'm hoping I don't have to deal with it a third time to confirm it's a pattern to say the least. What annoys me about this is not the discoverability of your channel being falsely tampered with, or even the thousands of dollars I lost out on because of this single false claim, because at the end of the day, I'll be fine. The only time this ever somewhat bugs me is when it's in regards to a bigger video, because of course those take longer to re-edit, those take longer to re-render, and those take longer to re-upload. So going through that process multiple times all for the sake of entertaining a false restriction is shitty, you know? It only confirms for me that YouTube and its rules are designed in a way to ensure you're within the vicinity of a computer all the time. That scenario I described earlier is not an exaggeration, and not uncommon unfortunately. I consistently can't even sleep without the very real fear of waking up and seeing that YouTube has given me some false restriction based on a rule that isn't even properly conveyed, nor enforced. It results in me frequently going out for the day and deciding not to even entertain the thought of turning on my phone, out of fear of seeing something that will make me think, I need to find a computer. I suppose what stirred all this in the first place was me earlier this year, deciding to plan a trip for a few days. A trip where I attempted to not even think about YouTube by uploading a big old Chucky video to hold things over until I got back and could work again. Time for me to just relax and enjoy myself. And I couldn't even do that. Okay, that's an exaggeration, I still had a lot of fun. But in the back of my mind during most of that fun, I could never shake the thought, fuck. That video I spent 2 months of my life on got screwed over. During my time at the airport, waiting to see if it was finished processing. During the layover, waiting to see if it was finished processing. On the taxi to my hotel, send in the appeal for a copyright claim. Periodically throughout the day, check to see if the appeal has come to end. This took almost 24 hours to appeal, by the way. Eventually, the appeal falls through at 2 in the morning, so now I gotta call a friend to re-edit the video, give him my account information to re-upload since I'm not home, then wait for that to finish processing and go through checks, in which I sigh in relief as I only had to spend 1 out of my 5 days on this trip wasting my time with dumb YouTube nonsense. Only for them to age restrict the video 10 hours after upload. Waste the remaining days of my trip talking to support, and then, the real kicker, cheekily tell me the day after I get back home that the entire thing was a mistake and never needed to happen. Quite the prank, YouTube. And so, YouTube, that's why I started writing this on my phone at 5 in the morning the night you age restricted my video. You owe me a trip to Spain. Assholes. So no, YouTube still does not care about its creators. If that even needed answering.